Hello.
Hello.
We are back.
We're back.
Hope everybody's doing
Just
good.
1 week.
Yeah, long hiatus.
Yes, we took a week off.
My
Carlos, you
apologies.
want to tell him why? Yeah.
Well, I think I ate something bad, but I up until about like 3 hours before we went live, I was feeling fine, and then I could hardly stay awake.
Yeah.
He sounded terrible.
What do you think?
Yeah.
What
When
do
he
you
got
think
into
you
our
ate?
call, he was rough. Carlos, what'd you eat?
I can't even remember.
Spoiled mayonnaise.
Yeah, boiled mayonnaise.
I'm just glad that I feel fine now.
Yeah, thank God. And
Of course.
thank you to all the people that were going to watch our show. And, we had to take a delay. It was serious. Carlos needed the rest. So
Yeah,
thank you to everyone that's back. We have a good show for you guys today. We're going to start pretty short here in the beginning. We'll take a little break, and then we have a special guest, and we're doing a very special topic. And then we're going to have a little outro for you guys, and that's it. That's the show.
Yeah, super pumped though. It's going to be a very interesting guest interview.
Hell yes. Do we want to kick off the first article since it's very recent, explosive news?
Yeah, if you want to open it up while I fix some things on the stream really quick.
Sure.
Cool.
I'll just talk about it generally. If you want to go ahead and.
I'll go
article.
into it. I just need to fix a couple things.
Well, obviously, it might have fallen under or below some headlines, but just the other day, either yesterday or the day before, Armenia and Azerbaijan started popping off. To be specific, it's actually this little separatist region that sits between both the countries. And I remember seeing like this Bourdain, back when he had Parts Unknown, he had an interview with people there in the region, Nagorno.
Right.
I don't remember the rest of the name, but yeah, it's essentially like a mini Kashmir located between Armenia and Azerbaijan, and it's had now it's both forces on both sides are like it rolled in artillery, tanks. The article we have here from Associated Press says 18 people have been killed.
Yeah, I believe like one of the first things that started up the conflict was like somebody shot down some helicopters or something. But
But obviously it was a potent situation before that.
Yeah, the ties in this region like run deep.
Do you want to read anything from the press article or?
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and just maybe read like a little bit and then we can move on. So starting off at the top here, fighting erupts between Armenia and Azerbaijan, 18 killed, has erupted again over the disputed separatist region of Nagorno-Karabakh. And the territory's defense ministry said 16 children and 2 civilians have been killed and more than 100 others wounded. Azerbaijan's president, meanwhile, says his military suffered losses but gave no details. Armenia has also claimed 4 Azerbaijani helicopters were shot down and 33 Azerbaijani tanks and fighting vehicles were hit by artillery. Azerbaijan's defense ministry rejected an earlier claim that 2 helicopters were shot down. The heavy fighting broke out in the morning in the region that lies with Azerbaijan, but has been under the control of ethnic Armenian forces backed by Armenia since 1994 at the end of the separatist war. It was not immediately clear what sparked the fighting. The heaviest since clashes in July killed 16 people on both sides. Nagorno-Karabakh authorities reported that shelling hit the region's capital of Stepanakert and the towns of Martakert and Martuni. Armenian Defense Ministry spokesperson Artsrun, last name, also said Azerbaijani shelling hit within Armenian territory near the town of Vardenis. So,
one of the big takes here, though, is it doesn't touch on it in the article, but it's like, well, why are these things popping up? We're not exactly sure what's caused this, and one of the things has been instigation from the larger coalition of Turkey. Turkey's really pressed this whole. Obviously, the old empire of Turkey is responsible for the genocide of the Armenians But here we see kind of a new coalition coming around with some of these Soviet states like Azerbaijan and Turkey working together to take over contested areas in Armenia.
Wait, what genocide?
Yeah, what the one that Turkey doesn't recognize and we didn't recognize for
the one that
ever.
That Turkey denies exists.
But yeah, we need to keep that in mind, and our thoughts need to be with the people that live in Nagorno, of course, the civilians that are going to get shelled and bombed in the middle of this, territorial dispute between great powers. So
yeah.
The next article that we actually had for last week, and I just kind of wanted to touch on it because, it's only been a week and there's already been a huge development in it. If we can pull up that Intercept article. Reading here, Trump prepares to execute Christopher Vialva for a crime he committed as a teenager. Vialva is the first black man to face execution during Trump's killing spree. He is set to die on September 24th. Obviously, that's passed, and indeed, despite appeals processes, he was executed on September 24th. The article, it goes through, what got him in Terre Haute, Indiana, where these multiple executions have been carried out in the last month. For instance, recently, not too long ago, we covered, I think his name was like Jerry or Lewis Jones Jr. or Jerry Lewis Jones. He was recently executed in the same place, Terre Haute, Indiana. And now we're seeing Trump in the middle of a pandemic just spend our resources killing more and more people. And this one was particularly disgusting because, the death penalty at large disproportionately affects the black community. And Michael, do you want to pull up that little ACLU piece? Go ahead and read it for us. It's a little data that touches on this fact. And I thought, given that this story has changed, maybe we should just read this.
Yeah, it's that one, Carlos. Article here by ACLU, Race and Death Penalty. The color of the defendant and victim's skin plays a crucial and unacceptable role in deciding who receives the death penalty in America. People of color have accounted for a disproportionate 43% of total executions since 1976, and 55 of those currently awaiting execution. A moratorium of the death penalty is necessary to address the blatant prejudice of our application of the death penalty. The jurisdictions with the highest percentages minorities on its death row. So U.S. military is at 86%, Colorado 80%, the U.S. government's at 77%, Louisiana 72%, Pennsylvania 70%. While white victims account for approximately 1/2 of all murder victims, 80% of all capital cases involve white victims. Furthermore, as of October 2002, 12 people have been executed where the defendant was white and the murder victim black, compared with 178 black defendants executed for murders with white victims. So,
yeah, the difference there, 12 people versus 178. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that because obviously with the recent execution of Vialva, his crime was, it was a carjacking and murder of two white school teachers, I think they were like Sunday school teachers, but
right.
Instant death penalty for him,
Mm-hmm.
So, not that, that was their process, was just instant death penalty. There was people that virtually same crime, just different. Since they killed someone that was black, all the same standards were met, but since different skin color, just nope, Do you want to bring up the next article, Ian, bro?
Yes, I do. So this piece was brought to me, I believe, by the Rational National. If anybody's familiar with it. I was just casually watching my YouTube for the day, and I stumbled across this. And I thought it would be something interesting to talk about. We have this piece by Yahoo News. If it's is it up on the screen for you guys?
Yeah.
Cool. So starts off the top here. Wisconsin black man falsely arrested at his own home, Sioux City. The young black man, Keontae Furge, was arrested and held at gunpoint in his home by 2 officers. On June 2nd, the young black man was arrested in his home with guns pointed at him, but police are now calling the incident a mistake. As reported by Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, Keontae Furge was arrested in his home after a neighbor called the police because he was sitting on the patio. Because that's a crime. Just sitting while black is a crime.
Sitting while black, yeah.
Police officers entered the house with their guns drawn and handcuffed Furge at 23 years old. There it is. The home belonged to Furge's coach, who was allowing him and another teammate to stay in the house after his mother, who previously lived in the home and passed away. When officers Jared Weidig and Luke Wunsch discovered that they made a mistake, they apologized, saying, "Sorry to ruffle your feathers this morning." As if that's, like any kind
Which
of
is the most white guy cop thing to say,
what the fuck
too.
is that? They added the neighbor was probably alarmed and called the police because the boys are 2 big black guys. But the lawsuit against the Monona Police Department and the 2 officers says sorry, that just doesn't cut it. The lawsuit was filed in Madison Federal Court last week. This lawsuit seeks to establish that this was more than a misunderstanding. It seeks to vindicate the violation of Keontae Furge's constitutional rights, the filing states. It adds, it seeks to effect change through punitive damages by punishing the defendants for their egregious conduct with the hope that the punishment is significant enough to prevent this from happening again in the future. So the person can move into a formerly vacant house in the city of Monona and sit on its front porch without having to fear that the police will break in and shoot him. So right here we have a video of the actual incident because we have body cam footage. So if you want to go ahead and just play that for us.
Monona Police.
Oh, hi. I want to report a suspicious activity.
Okay, and where is it happening?
Okay, I live on, and I was pulling out of the driveway to go home. And my neighbor's house is the 5111, and she passed away. The house is empty, and now there is the African American with sweatpants, flip-flop, and a white shirt sitting on the front door.
Okay, and what's the street? I got the address.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got nervous. Oh, Arrowhead Drive.
Okay, on Arrowhead, perfect.
Oh.
So you said this person is by 5111 at the neighbor's who's.
If you want to go ahead and skip
away.
to like.
Yes, the house is empty.
Skip to about like
and
10:50.
Where did you see this person at?
Oh,
I forgot to mention the times. But that the beginning is just
Obviously that was the call. Yeah.
And here they are entering the house.
Drawn. Pretty sick.
Police department, come out with your hands up. Come out with your hands up.
Okay. Jeez.
Keep walking.
This is me.
Okay.
Okay? Come on out here. You don't live here.
My coach's house, Coach Rundle.
Okay.
He let me and Torrance stay here. You can call him and ask him.
Okay. Go ahead and just, for right now, just turn around. Put your hands behind your back.
Keontae?
Yes, it's Keontae.
Jesus
Okay.
fuck.
Put your hands behind your back for a second. We're just going to detain you.
Well, I'm not leaving.
Who's going to detain you?
You don't live here, and the person that lived here passed away. So
Okay, can you guys call Coach Rundle?
Yeah, that's what we're going to do.
we'll deal with
Okay.
that. So
Yeah.
nobody else is here, Keontae?
No, Torrance gone.
You'll get your rights
second.
after.
My wrist is a little broken.
Is that better?
10-2.
Yeah.
So, this is the reason why you're here. Someone called because they...
I know, because I'm a black man and it's that lady right
So-
there, even though she waved at me.
That wasn't who...
It's because the person that lived here is passed.
Okay.
Hell yeah, he knows what the fuck
And they're
is up,
concerned that
bro.
it got broken into or something, so... So
He's dealt with
we'll.
this bullshit
Do you know? Do you,
Oh,
do
yeah,
you have a phone
absolutely.
with his number in it that we can
Yes,
call him?
I do.
Mark.
Mark
Yeah.
Ronald.
Yeah.
Mark Ronald?
Yeah.
Do you know him?
Yeah. She just, lady across the street just said that.
Do you know him?
You're living here for like 2
No.
months or something like that?
Yes.
Okay. Someone else.
She wasn't the one that called.
Yeah. Another neighbor called.
Yeah.
Said it should
I
not
know who he
be.
is anyway. You can.
Yeah.
Okay. So turn around. I'm gonna take him off for you quick. And we'll go grab your phone and get on the phone with.
Yeah, it's
Mark
definitely
with
not that neighbor.
Okay.
It's a different neighbor.
Oh, you got his number?
I can get it.
All right. Yeah. So neighbor called a different neighbor, not her, and said that nobody should be in this house.
Are you
You
serious?
still working, Keontae?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna lie to you.
You know, we're the police. We have no idea or any say who belongs in this house, but you can't be in
What
this
shift
house.
are you?
First, I'm on vacation. We just started back up. I took from vacation.
Oh, they guys have you laid off too for a while for this
Yeah.
stuff or what? Do you have his info or?
I got it from the school records, but you could just grab it.
Do you have ID on you by chance or
My
no?
wallet's in.
Oh, you can go ahead and
Go
stop
ahead.
it here. They pretty much just continue to talk about him, and they go on to explain the situation.
Now they've realized they fucked up. But
Yeah, exactly. They realize that, oh shit, this looks really bad. You know, thankfully everything's okay, but it's still an insane situation that we're in at this point. At the height of everything that's going on, we still have innocent people being in this situation, luckily just detained. But you know, this could have gone a multitude of ways, and it could have even resulted in his premature death. And
Yeah, any number of situations. Like he comes out of that room and he's like, "Hey, what the fuck?" And then any number of things could have happened.
yeah, you know, it's pretty. It's like it's yeah, you know. I think we got through all of our shit that we're gonna talk about right now. We're gonna go into
Yeah,
a
on that
quick
note, we
break.
should jump our break.
Yeah, we're gonna go into a break, give you guys a song, and then when we come back, we are going to have our guest on, and we're gonna be talking about some fucking awesome and interesting stuff. So we'll be right back. Let's get the music playing and
Awesome.
meet up. Yeah.
Be back in a minute.
You can't just shut us out. We know our fucking way. Try
Hey,
We're back.
we're back.
Back from our first break.
Awesome. So
Yeah,
today we have a super special guest for you guys to help us explore the realm of femicides, protests, etc. And that is Jennifer Ruiz. Would you like to say hi?
Hello, welcome.
No, Eian. So do you want to just dive right into it? Is there an introduction you want to give where people can find you or any of your...
Just so I haven't done complete research like on the ground like a professional, but I have done as much as I can. I've done papers and projects on this topic itself. And yeah, so I think they can see the magazine on the screen. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. So femicides have been going on for a long time, but what's gotten the attention recently, I would say, was the death of Ingrid Escamilla and also another one of a 7-year-old. And also now that we're at a time of unrest, people are like being more awakened by what else is going on in the world. And this is something. And so Ingrid's death was different because her body was like mutilated and she's in Mexico City and it was posted everywhere in the media. It leaked. It wasn't allowed. Like the family did not want it, but it was leaked. And then this caused more unrest and more statistics were being released and people were becoming aware of like this issue. And hold on. So, but a lot of things that aren't being mentioned about this isn't just people from the city, because I would like to mention the Ciudad Juarez, which is one of the most dangerous cities in the world for women in Mexico, or at least Mexico. There's these factories called maquilladoras that are foreign-owned, usually like U.S.-owned factories that women work at. Usually poor, brown, indigenous women who travel from far parts of Mexico who have been put out of business by like transnational corporations who used to work in agriculture. So they moved to these maquillas, like a lot of them are in the northern parts of Mexico near the borderlands, which there's more danger for women there, just the ones crossing to go into the US and the people who come into the US from Mexico. Yeah. And so there's this sort of lawless in northern Mexico around the borders. And these indigenous women have been being more murdered at higher rates and unreported. They've been unreported for various reasons because there's a high impunity rate. Since there's police corruption and government corruption, people don't care about them. And with Ingrid, she's a light-skinned Mexican woman who got more attention, I would say, rather than since the late 90s, I believe, and 80s, the cases for the maquilladora women who were being murdered existed. So there was also action against it back then in the state of Chihuahua, which is where Ciudad Juarez is located. They asked the governor, so what's your response to this? Because these women are working weird hours. Like they go in at like 5 a.m., end up coming out around midnight. And so he said, well, the solution's simple. We put our curfew in place, but there's also like, they can't follow the curfew. They have to go to work.
Right.
And when they come out of work, who's going to protect them?
Exactly.
And they said, well, the good people are going to stay inside with their families. But this leaves out like the women who have to go to work. And
Right.
so if they find them, their dead bodies, because Juarez is like a huge desert. So the bodies would be found every so often, and they would just label them as prostitutes because who cares about them?
Jeez.
So that's one of the biggest issues that's been going on with the women, usually very young women, who are being killed in Juarez. I believe the cases have gone down there, but have now moved to like the central areas of Mexico City. It's more populated now, so more cases are growing over there.
Do you think that's the only thing that spurred a movement more there, or is there other factors that are moving it more into to like Mexico City, etc.?
I would say there's more women there there's more feminist action there. More women are trying to move out of the patriarchal society that Mexico has in place. But what I can really say for the causes of it moving towards there, I can't really tell. I would say more processing factories, foreign-owned businesses are being moved there, more chances and opportunities for women to work. So as more companies like put these small businesses and workers and farmers out of business in Mexico, they have to look somewhere else for work.
Right. So they're all going to move to the larger.
And it's usually to these companies that can get away with abusing them more.
Yeah, because these maquilladoras also hire women specifically because of their place in society. They see them as more docile. They think if we hire women, they don't know their rights. They're more likely to just follow directions, and they're more replaceable. Their wages are extremely low too, so yeah.
Yeah. And they're almost using that as like the ability to extort them. You know, it's the same problem that's causing that the femicide in general and violence against women, is they're undervaluing women's role in society,
treating them as like subhuman or like second class almost.
Yeah, even the maquillas, they see them less as for women, but more as like a piece of machinery. They don't see them as people. And this isn't just a Mexico issue. Femicides go around, like a lot of them are in Latin America. El Salvador, Honduras have a higher femicide rate, I believe, but also the Caribbean and other parts of the world have large numbers of femicides. So this isn't a Mexican issue, like some people might say it is.
Yeah, and a lot of people try to like conscript the femicide narrative and try to spin it to like, well, Latin culture specifically or Mexico specifically is bad. And Mexican culture specifically is bad because this thing happens. But as you're saying, it's way wider in scope than
not
this.
Not the case, yes, yeah, right.
And not the cause, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When people bring up the culture... Go ahead, my bad.
Oh, yeah, the culture, because when foreign companies hear like, okay, so they generalize Mexican women are docile workers, let's keep that going. Let's use it to our advantage.
Right,
and that's what they do.
Yeah, which is horrible.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanna any other directions you wanna go with this?
Anything else on the other slides of this document?
Yeah, I'm looking through them myself right now, actually. Okay. So this was for like a class that I had. It was a feminist studies class, and more about relationships and love. Well, like for part of this institution of marriage, like men have been placed as the head of the family in Mexico and many other places in the world. And they're seen as the protectors of women, but also they're the leaders in the society. So they have a higher impunity rate when it comes to, I forget how high it is, the percentage, but it's incredibly high. So people who are victims to crime that don't end up being murdered, but just harassment and assault and other things like that, they go underreported because the police themselves can do these crimes onto them, harass them, and yeah.
Who watches the Watchmen type of situation? Like,
yeah.
Like the police will do these things, and then who's going to stop the police? You know, there's no accountability.
So in this, like I mentioned in my magazine, that there's this film documentary on YouTube for free right now. It's called Señorita Extraviada, or Missing Young Woman. Mm-hmm. They go through like personal cases of like the mothers and the family victims of the victims, and they talk about like what they've been through, how they've been ignored through governments. Even when they put it in place like a special unit for them, they don't really help. And there's not much justice being brought. Even they give firsthand accounts of like the police assaulting this woman and other women, what she witnessed while she was in jail.
Could you speak on maybe just, because obviously you touched on it earlier, the protests that are happening now. Kind of, you touched on what spurred that recently, but where do you see these protests going? what should we look for, and what should we be looking forward to?
I would assume that something like the women are already taking action against the president right now because he advertised himself as a progressive who was going to help these women, and he hasn't done that at all. He like the raid that you guys talked about last week for the derechos, the human rights building. He got more upset about the property than the women like asking for their rights. So what I can expect coming next is more of those protests, and I could see in the next election he's going to be outed at least. Or at least there's going to be some backlash, a bigger one from the women. On Independence Day, too, they weren't silent. They replaced the green of the banner for Mexico's flag, and they placed it with purple, which has become more of the color for femicides. And they were all around the country, like, calling for action. Like, you can't celebrate a country who isn't protecting their women and their people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Trying to get their voices heard. Right.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any other questions that we want to?
No, I was mostly just letting this like kind of just progress like she.
Yeah, can we go through the slides a little more, Carlos, just so people can get a look here. This is very well done, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. The victims.
Yeah, so those were a few of the victims. Like, intimate partner violence is very common because if they can do it and get away with it, why not?
Yeah.
Right.
And a few, I think 2 of these were from the maquilladora women, and the one in the middle, she was part of like intimate partner violence and ended up murdered. They know who did it, but haven't caught him.
Is he like on the run, or are they just kind of not doing?
Yeah, he's on the run. He's wanted by Interpol, which his face is known. Everyone knows who he is. He just haven't been found.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there is other cases of just, even if they're not necessarily on the run, it's just there's no process to actually go after some of these people. Especially since, as you're saying... Oh, sorry to interrupt you. Well,
no, there's like these fake units that are supposed to help them that don't do anything. They're just there for like pictures or anything.
Right. Yeah, just for the name that we're going to go out there and stop this kind of crime, but...
We won't necessarily actually go out and stop the crime.
Do anything, yeah. Could we go through some more of the... those all the slides we had covered? So.
Intimate partner violence.
Yeah, which we spoke a little bit last time when we had some of the stats.
Yeah, we had a couple of articles giving us.
I think it was something like a third. I want to say it was a third of all women that are killed internationally are killed by an intimate partner or someone. Yeah, I think it was.
It says here the statistics: nearly 35,000 people were murdered in 2019. That's
only 10% were femicides, but a large amount of numbers goes unreported because they already know nothing will be done for them.
Right. Yeah, 10% is
from the graph since 2015, where it was 411. Oh wait, no, that's the graph. It says 2015 to 2019, and the numbers are just shooting up from there.
Yes, it's steady.
Also, there's like a hard thing with the statistics. People like don't really know what to classify as femicide because it's gender-based violence, but sometimes they just classify it as homicide and other like weird ambiguities in classifying what is femicide.
Right. So this is more just like a educated guess kind of number.
Yeah.
Okay. Could you speak at all to, obviously we have the numbers, but just to the general rising rate, like how this problem has gotten so much worse, especially in the last couple of years? Is it just an optics thing where we're just now hearing about more, or?
I feel like that's it because there's more resources now, more like people using social media are more likely to be able to share this information out and get these cases known. But that's especially how Ingrid's case got leaked in all over Mexico because someone leaked the photos to the media and that got into everyone's cell phone, the newspaper, magazines everywhere across the country.
Right.
So it's not even necessarily like a rise in just the action. It's there's just more publication about it, and we're finding out
I would
about it
say
more.
that I'm not exactly sure, but I would say publication is one of the biggest reasons why.
Yeah, go on to the next slide here.
Oh, that one's also just how I was talking about. Like, they'll just label them anything to avoid
Right.
helping them. If they're a prostitute, who cares about their life?
Right. They're a sex worker or prostitutes. Who cares if they, were murdered?
Yeah, basically, they have no value. Who cares?
Do we move to the next one, Carlos?
And that one's just a poem song that I found by an artist on YouTube. Just an emotional kind of song, like talking about what some women go through. Like, they're being stalked, they call the police, nothing happens, and they ultimately get killed.
I'm like reading through these as we go. So you pulled this one from YouTube, right? It was a spoken word originally.
Yeah. Her name's Caspiel. Like, I have it on that left side over there.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Go on to the next slide. Resistance and calls for action.
So these were the recent protests that we were talking about.
Yeah, this was this year, I believe. I know the one on Valentine's Day and around that time was huge. And then they also had a day without women, Un Día Sin Nosotras, that women did not go to school, did not go to work. Their online presence was off. They weren't cooking for their families either, to give them a point, like, you can't, this is what a day without us is actually like.
We're so integral that we don't forget about us, or don't undermine our value.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that one was huge because I was talking with Carolina, and a bunch of different people were doing that in different classes of society too. So it was something interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just a class-specific thing.
I wanted to ask a question, if you're comfortable talking about it, but how we can look at this within the United States, especially with the I can't remember her name exactly, but the woman in the army that was like her body was found, like I believe like
the Fort Hood.
Yeah, that was. I remember I think I remember that sparking like a big thing about violence.
She was the one that started where they found like 8 bodies there.
Yeah,
something
a bunch
ridiculous.
of other bodies.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure how I would compare it. I know more so like in the ICE detention centers right now, with women being forcefully sterilized. That's very common there, especially when women are trying to come to the U.S. that don't even get detained by ICE. They're assaulted by officers and stuff like the Border Patrol, and even by the people who they pay to come over. They're at a high risk for sexual assault, and just violence is always against them. The borderlands are such, I don't even know how to describe it. There's just no laws there, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as you were saying earlier, like that whole, border area too. Obviously, ICE is going to jump in on this and, create havoc and do, as we've seen, forced sterilizations. And other absurd shit.
And it's also just it's like a lot of desert. Like, there's not like who is somebody going to go to if something like this happens? Like, not even necessarily like murder, but like a sexual assault. Like, where are they going to go?
Or anything. Yeah.
Like, where are they going to go, and who are they going to go to? Because they come.
Yeah, sometimes they prepare themselves for that too. Like the women who are preparing to come to the U.S. From anywhere from Latin America, they have to cross the border. Sometimes they take some type of birth control, some type of sterilization process before they can cross, to avoid the risk of an unwanted pregnancy or anything like that.
Jeez.
Right. So another thing they have to think on top of their whole, sojourn.
Above just trying to exist and make a better life, you have to worry about getting attacked by a man for no fucking reason.
There's also like you just don't know who to trust because the coyotes bringing them over can also just use them as bait and keep them with them to lure other men to come with them on a journey to the U.S. There's also like whoever you make a friendship with, you don't know who's gonna actually like sell you out. Like, hey, I have this girl with me, I'll sell you to her for like $25. Done. It's been done.
Right, which speaks to the lawlessness aspect you described. Because it's just everyone's trying to use each other. The transnational corporations are the worst, obviously, because they're screwing over people too. They're using them and then they throw them to the side. But yeah, I do like that point that you point out that it's just the general like chaos there. That's both from one side of the border and the other from both actors. It's just they're just preying on women. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
And I'd be very interested to see data like correlating when we started to crack down on migration from specifically the southern border and an increase in violence against women in the border region.
Right.
Which
what's even reported.
Yeah, it was exactly for what little has been reported. But I think that'd be very interesting data. And I'm sure it's there. I'm sure it's out there.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any other slides you want to go through here? You have some more of these here?
I think this last page is good enough.
Okay.
Right here. Yeah, so these are just the documentaries right there in the top, and on the left-hand side is some pictures from the women who raided the Human Rights Building in Mexico. Yeah, this was the most recent I think I could find when I was making it.
And how long ago did you create this? It was
like a week or two after the raid happened, I believe.
Okay.
So pretty recently.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Too.
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago. It was for a project for summer class.
Yeah, again, this was very, very well done.
Thank you so much.
Glad we actually got to put it to show it here on the stream.
Thank you.
Do we have any maybe final closing thoughts or anything you want to say? Keep the people something for their brains to chew on.
I would say feminism is different in both countries. I've seen people like in the US, feminism has been trying to take more control of their bodies, but people in like the global south or the third world don't really have that chance. That it's taken away by other people in the global north, and they don't really have the chance to be women, free women, take control of their bodies and themselves. They're always put at a constant position of weakness, and they're always being like abused. So these protests are really bringing that to light, and I hope we see more of them and something gets done.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Definitely, yeah.
We need to see more, and as you're saying, we need to cross these lines too between, the kind of protesting we're doing here and the protests there too, because we're all in this boat together. So,
Totally.
I think on that we're gonna go to our next break. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much.
This was one of our best segments already.
If you're comfortable, if there's any links you want to send people to or websites to find more info, or even plugging your own personal social media or anything, if you're comfortable with that, go ahead and let the people know, and then we can go into a break.
Yeah, I think I mentioned everything in there. Everything's really easy to look up on my magazine, and yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, but we'll have all that and linked for people, so they'll get to you. Okay.
All right, thank you so much.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, let's roll to the break.
Yeah.
Little spark of flame, making sure Nova's home. Notice gnomes on the short side of tall grass, person up ahead. Little red just walks past. All caps like my name was metal face. An angel appears, she shining down with gentle grace. The visuals of that beauty left me breathless. Connected shattered pieces of my mind like a nexus. Plexus, full of radiated liquid love. You ain't ready to fly yourself, yeah, stick with doves. Gripping hugs left and right from the shorties, but I knew after a while they would just start to bore me when I'm exploring ancient ruins of that golden age. Back in the days where we all blowing haze, amazed at the simplicity of laughter, the act of the chapter, reaping after the past that we plastered their faces all up and down. Rapture to capture the rappers' innocence and disaster we mastered. The art form of levitate, different to being a smart ass and clever mate. This letter states that you're classified as featherweight. Whatever you plan on doing next, man, it better wait. Like, whoa, where am I now? My back is to the earth as I'm falling through the clouds. Don't act so proud when you know that you're allowed to cause the shenanigans. I'll see you up in round 2. I found you taking orders from the Black Knight attack fight. It's what I told you, couldn't act right. Cat's right, out of the bag is zigzagging. Ain't had fire this bad since last dragon. Chilling in the tank while I'm listening to action. On cloud 9, trying to get that satisfaction, nigga.
We're back, but Ian's got food in his mouth, so we're like kind of back. We just in our setup had our guest leave. Thank you again so much to Jennifer Ruiz.
Yeah.
Check out her shit.
Yeah, that was amazing.
That was super awesome.
We're gonna. You want to fix the cameras. Do you want to change? I mean, we're gonna tweet out her magazine on the official Twitter, and it's also gonna be linked in our YouTube on the upload tomorrow. So if you're interested in checking that out.
Yeah, and if anyone else wants to guest on the show or likes the guests that we have, like let us know.
Yeah, if you
I want to do more guests. That was fun.
If you have something that you want to talk about and you have like a lot of lot to say on the issue, don't be afraid to reach out to us. Or if you know somebody who does that, reach out to us.
Yeah. Do we want to kick our third piece of the show?
Let's get into our first topic, talking about what's going to be on the ballot in our upcoming election. Some of you may have already voted. I believe some of you might have gotten your ballots already, but those who haven't. So one of the big things one of the big propositions going to be on the ballot is
Benti Dos 22.
One second. So Josh is saying that there's overtalk on this show.
Yeah.
Do we know where that's coming from?
Overtalk.
Carlos?
I don't know.
Oh.
Is it still going on, Josh? Do you maybe have two windows open or anything?
Yeah, that's actually a good. It probably has like maybe two tabs open.
Oh, it's good now. Okay, perfect.
Okay, we're good.
Okay, so continuing on. One of the big things that's happening on the ballot is Proposition 22, and essentially what Proposition 22 is, it is deciding how we move forward with gig workers that work specifically like Uber, Lyft, like the app-based drivers. And how we move on, if we should call them independent contractors or official employees that would have access to employee rights.
Yeah.
And
should we give them worker protections?
Exactly. And
yes or no?
from the vote yes side is all the corporate lobbyists. Uber, Lyft have poured millions into the anti-Proposition 22 legislation.
Pro,
Yeah. Voting yes.
The yes vote is funded by Lyft and Uber. Like if you see all the commercials,
which should already tell you enough.
Yeah.
That this is already sus. And the vote no side, they basically want to use this proposition as a foot in the door to continue to get worker rights for app-based drivers. I'm not 1,000,000% sure if smaller companies like Grubhub and Postmates, but Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash are 100% part of this legislation. So we also want to do. We've been talking about doing basically a voter's guide here in California for our California watchers. For people who maybe aren't the most inclined to reading stuff, but they want to they want to vote. So that's something that we might do and put it up on the YouTube, tweet it out and stuff. But definitely, if you care about continuing forward with workers' rights for people who deserve them, people who bust their ass. Some people drive all fucking day, and so to give back to them in higher wages and in healthcare and other types of benefits, disability, it's very important that you vote no on this proposition, regardless of the ads you see saying vote yes. And we even, Carlos, if you could pull up the pictures, I received, because I use Lyft somewhat often. I received an email from Lyft basically saying why we should vote yes, and they even it is a now deleted San Francisco Chronicle opinion piece. It's here on screen now. They basically sent me this cute little infographic why we should vote yes, and it's protecting their flexibility and freedom, which basically what it realistically means is continuing to have them as independent contractors so we can not care about what happens to them. They can work insane hours and we can continue to not protect them, even though that they are integral to our company's profit. Without the drivers, literally this company
there's
is nothing.
no company. Yeah.
Exactly. So the very least they can do is give them a living wage and disability, healthcare, etc. But it was it's very interesting to see. And I'm I'm a fucking nerd for politics, so I saw this and was like, I instantly screenshotted and sent it to the group chat. I was like, what the fuck is this? But to the the average apolitical person who checks their email, not everybody fucking checks their email. That's old shit. That's old people shit. But if you click on this, you see this cute little infographic and big letters: protect drivers' flexibility and freedom. And then they do what they do in the underscore thing. SF Chronicle editorial board agrees. That editorial board piece has since been deleted, and the actual SF Chronicle put out an article saying vote no on Prop 22. The legitimate, not the opinion, not the opinion piece, but the actual SF Chronicle is like, don't vote yes on this, vote no on Prop 22. They just want to continue to make as much money as possible. Would this affect freedom? No, all this is doing is making the companies, and this isn't even hard legislation that forces the companies to do something. This is essentially
it's essentially removing legislation. What the vote is for.
It takes away their status as independent contractors and pushes them more towards being full employees with access to healthcare and etc. But it's not. You're not gonna receive like a paper schedule with like an 8 to 2 shift on it. It's not. It's still gonna be the same type of turn on the app and go kind of thing, but there's gonna be regulations on breaks and not overworking the workers, not working insane shifts, and that is obviously supplemented by higher wages and time.
Like some of the stuff, like they make you clean your car before you go pick up another passenger. They want to change it to where when you're cleaning your car between people, you're not paid for that time.
Yeah, because you're not. It's not. You're not
You're
actually
not driving.
You're not driving, so you're not. You're not like You're not getting en route, so you're not getting paid.
But you have to, with COVID, you have to take the time to do that now.
So yeah, so think of all those minutes adding up that you're not getting paid for.
Yeah.
No, there's
While
actually
you're on the job.
I believe there's no type of I believe like unless you get into like a bad accident, but no, you don't get health care through Uber. You don't get disability through Uber.
And that's just now. The whole point of the Prop 22 is it's going to get even worse than that.
And the lobbying money being spent by these corporations to get this proposition shot down, or to get it passed, because they want you to vote yes on the proposition. But to get this proposition passed, it's so they can further manipulate their workers and milk as much profit as they can, while leaving you with breadcrumbs.
I think that's why this prop stood out to us and we chose it too, because not only is the argument from Lyft or all the people that are funding it so dishonest, because obviously their argument is, well, as you said in the SF editorial one, we're going to give them more freedoms.
Yeah, it's all about freedom. They don't want to get into the nitty gritty of it. They want you to really just stick to that freedom thing.
But on top of that, it's so prevalent right now because so many people are working these kind of gig jobs with COVID right now, like Grubhub and Lyft and Uber.
And to not have access to
big
decision.
That's a huge part of the population.
So this is like a very you're in close proximity to somebody who could possibly be infected. They're in your back seat. If you get COVID, you're fucking screwed.
Yeah.
And even if you are like an asymptomatic carrier and nothing happens to you specifically, what if your mother is immunocompromised, or you live with your grandparents? Like, the dangers that this can cause it exceeds just the individual.
Yeah, absolutely.
And tying into these kind of drivers, recently, I believe on the 17th, there was the New York taxi workers shut down the Brooklyn Bridge. Let's go ahead and get that pulled up on screen. But yeah, the New York taxi workers shut down the entire Brooklyn Bridge. There was helicopters flying over covering it, and this is as it says on screen, they demand debt forgiveness. And so basically, when the taxi service was first put in place in New York City, there were these things called the medallions, which is the license, which is like the yellow cab, like insignia kind of thing that allows you to drive in New York City. And when these medallions were rolled out, they weren't just they weren't properly bought and sold. They were placed on auctions. So people took out these huge, insane loans with high interest, etc., just to get a medallion because you need to fucking feed your family and stuff like that. And so it's been decades, and since Uber and Lyft has come in and pretty much seriously fucked with the business of the yellow cab. They're demanding, hey, if these companies are gonna come in, if we can't stop these companies come in, we need our debt cleaned because we can't feed our families, we can't pay our rent, our lights are off, our water's off, a lot of what I'm seeing, since I found this and I've been looking through threads and whatnot, and a lot of people rightfully are I guess they don't care because in New York, there's the huge racial thing, cabs racially profiling and not picking up certain groups of people. There's obviously tensions there, but
both that existing and both taxi workers being indebted and needing to unionize and work together can both be true at the same time.
Exactly. We don't and this is the same kind of switching the subject thing that happens with the Black Lives Matter protests. They'll be we'll say, oh, police are killing Black people at this high rate, and there's no justice. And then what do people do? Oh, black on black crime. Oh, what about white people killed by the police? It's these things can both be true at the same time, but they're separate issues, and we'll get to
that are maybe connected to the same
exactly, and
problem.
maybe exactly, but when you instead of just solving a problem and just turning around instantly being like, well, what about this problem? You're not like, we're never gonna get to a solution. We're never gonna, when a problem arises, let's focus on that problem instead of switching. And I mean, obviously, specifically with like the Black Lives Matter thing, people have money motivations to switch the subject, like grifters like Candace Owens, scum. She'll she's a grifter. She has the motivation through money to say these terrible things because that's her prerogative. She's
change the narrative. Yeah. Can we play the? Do we have the video too?
Yeah,
it
should be the other link.
Because this is pretty awesome.
I'm sorry, what was that, man?
I saw the video like on my timeline, like prior to us even putting it into the show.
So shout out to these cab workers.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Obviously, any active protest like this we're all down for it. So.
And it's always important to remember when we see these protests, it's during a fucking pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's during COVID-19 2020.
So extra gross they're having to do this. And like anything too, New York is just better at organizing than us. Like it's so sad.
Wait, I mean, yeah, just look at just a sea of yellow cabs.
And look at the difference between some of these drivers here too. I mean, that one guy maybe Sikh or Muslim, and then you have white guy over there, and then
yeah, like
it is an intersectional working class.
It's a diverse coalition of workers who just want their needs taken care of. They want they still want to work. All they're asking is for debt forgiveness. They're not saying pay us so we can sit at home. They're saying forgive this debt so we can continue to work. They're not looking for handouts to be lazy. They want to survive. They want to live. They don't want to worry about if they can keep the lights on next month. They don't want to worry if they can put food on their family's tables. And that's it's literally as simple as that.
Do we want to debunk some Medicare for all shit?
Of course.
Always a good day.
Always a good day to shit on people who don't support giving every single man, woman, and child health care, who accept that any other plan that doesn't cover every single person in this country is okay with people dying due to lack of basic care. To put it bluntly.
To put it literally, I mean.
No, yeah.
Some like 40,000 people die in this country every year because
that's a low estimate, as high as 65,000.
Yeah, it's a very conservative estimate. From the Hill here, do you wanna read it, Ian Brown?
Yeah, I can do that. I can't. Give me 2 seconds. Starting off at the top here, 22 studies agree Medicare for all saves money. The evidence abounds. Oh, sorry, something just popped up on my screen. There we go. The evidence abounds. A Medicare for all single-payer system would guarantee comprehensive coverage to everyone in America and save money. Christopher Kai and colleagues at the University of California campuses examined 22 studies on the projected cost impact of single-payer healthcare or single-payer health insurance in the United States and reported their findings in a recent paper in the PLOS Medicine. Every single study predicted that it would yield net savings over several years. In fact, it's the only way to rein in healthcare spending significantly in the U.S. All the studies, regardless of ideological orientation, specifically, just off the top of my head, the Cato Institute, funded by the Koch brothers, found that it saved money, just right off the top of my head before we even continue. Super far right, funded by the Koch brothers, that's big oil money. They found that it saves money. Even the Mercatus Center, that's another big one that people use. A right-wing think tank recently found that $2 trillion in net savings over 10 years from a single-payer Medicare for all system. Most importantly, everyone in America would have high-quality health coverage. This is super comparable. Just to put it into like normal terms, think senator healthcare. What Medicare for all is what our senators get. Our elected officials get that gold stamp healthcare, and all this is doing is expanding that to everybody in the United States, regardless of regardless of where you live. You can live in the hills of some like Rust Belt or Midwest state, and you'll still get that gold stamp healthcare and have access to everything that our elected officials have. Medicare for All is far less costly than our current system, largely because it reduces administrative costs. With one public plan negotiating rates with healthcare providers, billing becomes quite simple. We do away with 3/4 of the estimated $812 billion the U.S. now spends on healthcare and administration.
Another way to say administrative costs is healthcare executives fucking you for more money. That's administrative costs is definitely a light way to say it.
Increase your premiums and deductibles to put more money directly in their pockets.
Yeah.
As day and night as that. We're gonna increase your premiums, your family's premiums, so I can buy a nicer car. I can get a bigger house. I can get my nice fitted suit. The ultimate form. Administrative savings from Medicare for All would be about $600 billion a year. Savings on prescription drugs would be between $200 and $300 billion a year. If we paid about the same price as other wealthy countries pay for their drugs, the Medicare for All system would still would save still more with implementation of global healthcare spending budgets. We're one of the only major countries, industrialized countries that we can compare ourselves to that don't bargain for prescription drug costs. Even in cases where we make the drug here, we're still not getting at a rate as low as the United Kingdom or Canada, etc., because we let big pharma run our lives and steal from us. Getting back into it, even more savings are possible in the Medicare for All system because, like other countries, we would have a uniform electronic health record system. Such a system generates additional savings because the system problems would be easier to detect and correct. A uniform claims data system helps reduce healthcare spending from fraudulent services. In 2018, the total U.S. healthcare costs were $3.6 trillion, representing 17.7% of the GDP.
I think that's the key too, though. Is obviously, we know Medicare for All is going to cover more people, and it's higher quality health insurance.
Yes.
But to the point of this article, it's fucking cheaper. It's literally cheaper.
Literally, over a decade, we will save more money with Medicare for All if we did it right now.
Right now. It says right in 2018, the total U.S. healthcare costs were $3.6 trillion, representing 17% of GDP. We way outspend per capita, but yet we have millions of people without health insurance. So,
and I feel like that only proves that, because I feel like the biggest main argument against healthcare for all is that it's too
costly.
It's
bullshit.
It's an unfounded and debunked claim that people still hold on to because they literally have no argument. Because if they say what they really mean is what they really want to say in that situation, when they say, "Oh, it costs too much money," what they want to say is, "I like getting all this money in campaign donations from these big companies. So I don't really care if your family dies. I don't care if your kid gets cancer and dies. I don't care about your diabetes. I want my money so my family can live in our nice little bubble." That's what it means, literally, when they say it's too expensive. Because they don't actually care about Americans. All they care about is lining their own pockets. So anybody here watching who doesn't necessarily agree with Medicare for All, but it is obviously not in that situation where they're getting contributions from corporations, think, why am I against Medicare for All? What are the real reasons I'm against Medicare for All?
To Michael's point, it's undeniable that Medicare for All is, he said, the one common argument in people's minds, people that are against it, it costs too much. And that's objectively not true. So
no matter where you go on the political spectrum, far right or far left, center right, center left, center, everybody agrees that a Medicare for All system would not only cover every single American, provide them with better health care, it would save us money in the long term, which we can put that towards something else.
Yeah.
So getting back into it, I'll only read a little bit more because I want to get into this for sure, this next part right here. Savings are in part a function of benefits Medicare for All covers. The Reyes report and others project the savings even with the elimination of deductibles and out-of-pocket costs. Under both Senator Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All bill and Pramila Jayapal's Medicare for All bill, patients would not pay deductibles or co-insurance when they receive medical care. The bills also would provide vision, hearing, and dental, as well as long-term services and support such as home care and nursing home care. Which imagine if our healthcare now covered all of that or any of that.
You gotta do it like Bernie does it. Vision, dental, hearing.
And another a quick distinction for those who don't know already. I guess the main difference, just off the top of my head, between the two Bernie Sanders and Pramila Jayapal, both awesome people, but Pramila Jayapal has a 2-year transfer period versus Bernie Sanders' 4-year. So Pramila Jayapal's, she worked, her and her incredible team worked at the numbers, and hers is more effective because it rolls over faster. Bernie's plan is I think it's 65 to 55, 55 to 45, and then everybody else. But Pramila Jayapal's plan is I think 65 to like 35, and then 35.
Regardless of how you slice it, they both understand that.
Yeah, they
the
both
profit motive in healthcare is the problem, and that's what we got to remove. Do we want to go to the Newsom thing, or?
Yeah, we can move on here.
Okay.
If you want to.
Unless there's one you had to read, I didn't want to.
No. I think we're cool there. I've gotten most of my points down. Anybody who is kind of up in the air about Medicare for All, just remember, think about the arguments you've heard against it, and kind of think about what we just talked about. How Medicare for All would cover everybody with better healthcare, that Senator gold stamped premium, and it would save money. Maybe if you have family that is, maybe not in favor or conservative leaning, talk to them. Like, casually just explain it to them, break it down for them, drop the logic bombs, drop the fact bombs, and it's a very like no bullshit way of explaining it. Like, we'll save money. The
easiest way to describe it is it's creating a system where we ration healthcare based on who needs the healthcare the most rather than who can afford it.
Exactly.
Right.
And then really quick before we move on, I just thought of something. And then, like the argument after that is, oh, well, wait lines. Canada has wait lines. First, nobody said Canada's healthcare system was perfect. And two, everybody has wait lines. Everybody rations care somehow. Other countries ration it based on need. We ration it based on who can afford it, whose wallet's bigger. And Canada has wait lines. We have wait lines. Our wait lines are riddled with dead bodies of poor people who can't afford their health care.
Yeah, and those wait lines are infinite if you have no money.
Exactly.
So
if you're born into a family with no upward mobility socioeconomically, and you have no intergenerational wealth, you have no stepping stones, no foundation to stand on, you're fucked. Yeah, we can continue with the Gavin Newsom thing if you want to bring it up.
Yeah, I'm literally gonna touch on it for 1 second because it's fucking funny when you open it. And from this headline here, the LA Times article on Twitter, Governor Newsom's executive order bans sales of new gas-powered vehicles in California starting in 2035. Okay, keep that headline in mind. And you don't even got to open it, Carl, so I'll just read the first it's pretty much the first paragraph. It says, is this a real ban on combustion vehicles? The order calls it a goal, but gives the California Air Resources Board authority to lay out a transition plan. The CARB has enforcement powers. The order calls for a plan to phase in requirements between now and 2035. The details are yet to be determined. So, literally nothing.
He basically said
article.
It would be nice if this happened.
Yeah, he might as well have just said, maybe in some other universe we could ban sales of gas-powered vehicles in 2035. Because all it says here is he set up a group to do it, and they have no authority to do anything, nor do they plan on anything, nor do they have any details about their plan.
Also, this isn't even comprehensive and effective legislation. The individual in the situation is not the problem. Us driving gas-powered cars is not the fucking problem. We can drive gas-powered cars. the problem is the 100 companies in the U.S. that make up for over 70% of our emissions. That's the problem. Our problem isn't on the individual. The problem is on the system as a whole. The problem is with the corporations that are destroying this earth, and we're not doing anything about it. So this is, literally, like, Gavin Newsom literally did nothing here. But what this does is just give fucking conservatives more reasons to be like, the radical left liberals, they want to get rid of our gas-powered cars. They're nice cars.
Yeah,
like,
and it acts as anathema to the left. They're like, oh, we got what we wanted. Everything's fine now.
It's like the plastic straw ban. It's just more Band-Aid bullshit that doesn't actually do anything productive, but it gives liberals their little cookie points. Like, it gives them their little, I did something, yay. It's something like, when you see stuff like this, like the bans of things, kind of think about like what it actually does.
Yeah,
and
who's
the root of the problem.
Yeah. Well, it'd be different if it was like, oh, we're doing a phase-in ban of cars, but we're expanding public transportation.
Yeah,
None
exactly.
of it's that.
No, they're not going to revitalize their public transit system, which is a more effective way of cutting emissions, and also fixes our traffic problem in places like Los Angeles, which has a terrible traffic problem. No, they rather just do statements like this that don't actually do anything.
Well, and then their money approach will be something like, well, why don't we give Tesla a subsidy to make electric cars?
They're gonna, or like other companies that do electric cars, they're gonna give subsidies to already huge companies
Ford,
that are responsible for the issue at hand. They're gonna give them big old subsidy, bunch of fucking money that's probably not gonna go anything productive. That's just gonna line the CEO's pockets. They're not going to increase their worker wages. They're not going to actually probably roll out more affordable models of cars. It's not going to, it's nothing good can come from this. I feel like nothing productive, at least.
Yeah, no. But yeah, that's pretty much all from that. We can move on.
Yeah.
It was just funny.
Yeah. Gavin Newsom just continues to be a big meme.
Yeah. And it's funny to hear how many conservatives go after Gavin Newsom for like the dumb, obviously because of all the mask shit now, and it's like, god damn, like there's so many things to actually not like about him, and you guys are just missing everything.
They always just
replace Newsom.
Standard Democrat outrage.
Yeah, instead of the fact that he's a massive fucking elitist scum. That like,
I was gonna say prior or like earlier that it's funny that we bring up that article since that all pieces together to like, I think just a couple days ago my dad came up to me and he like told me about that very topic.
Right.
He's like, oh, in 15 years we're not gonna be driving gas cars anymore, and he like wanted my 2 cents on it, and I was like, where are you getting this information? Like, what?
It's just the headline. It's like, yeah.
And then now that you mention it, like it's just all piecing together. I'm like, oh, okay, now I know what he means. Like I see where he's going.
And you can see where he gets misconstrued too if you just read that.
Right.
Just the headline, you're like, oh, okay, no more gas cars after 2035.
He was 100% on like, okay, what am I gonna do? Like he's like planning, like, oh, what am I gonna do with my truck? Or like, what if? I don't know. It's so funny.
The plan wasn't no more gas by 2035.
Yeah, exactly. We have. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say they're not gonna come like SWAT team pick up his truck.
Yeah.
Get on the fucking ground. Where's the keys?
To be fair though, that's what they write the headlines.
Yeah, exactly. They make it seem like they're gonna come fucking bust down your door and where's the car keys?
Yeah, like it's 100% banned, not just a blurb.
Right. I just thought it was funny because he was just like planning what he was gonna do.
Yeah.
Like way ahead. He's like, oh,
right.
No, so when I get my new truck, I gotta get rid of it? I don't know. I just thought it was so funny.
You're like, Dad, we might not make it 15 years.
Exactly.
We might be underwater. Speaking of, we have a little tweet here, and I think by our next show, I will have some more information about this. Obviously, earlier in the year, we heard about the crazy wildfires that were happening in the Amazon that were decimating the quote-unquote Earth's lungs, as people like to call it. But, now not much coverage on it. Same with Australia. They're still wildfires raging there, not much coverage. Obviously, because we have our own wildfires now to deal with, so maybe we're focused on our own. But here you can see the world's largest wetlands, the Pantanal, just lost more area to fire than the entire U.S. West. Yesterday, Brazil's environmental minister, who's been recently appointed by the fucking goon Bolsonaro, who is super pro-oil, super pro, foreign, transnational corporations coming in. So this environmental minister's ass. It says he removed laws protecting the world's second largest expanse of mangrove forest. 1.2 million hectares of coastline are now free for logging, which is, as I pointed out, these massive fires that are happening, they're happening because of this insane logging that's happening. And to speak on that for a second, Bolsonaro's foreign minister, his environmental minister rather, he's deep under the influence of agribusiness, as all politicians in Brazil are. But the strategy is this: they go in, the logging business gets the first big pool. They go in, they cut everything down, and then they, in a lot of cases, commit violence and murder, rape on indigenous people to remove them from the land. Then after that happens, the agribusiness comes in, they retill the land, and now it's pasture grazing area, and then they raise cows on it. So now you've removed the indigenous population that takes care of the rainforest. You've cut down the rainforest, driving up. Those trees aren't going to soak up CO2 anymore. And as it gets more arid, the fires are going to get worse. And then you transform it into agro land, which with all these cows produces methane. So they're doing, the triple threat on the Earth's lungs, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, it's a really good.
I'm gonna have a big update.
It's a good idea to expand the animal industry when we know how much these cows love breathing in carbon dioxide, huh?
Yeah, and it's unreal to think that. We're cutting down these million-year-old forests and replacing it with pastures. It's like, maybe there's a fucking reason it's not like that.
Yeah.
You can't just destroy these ecosystems and revamp them.
And we don't even address the pollution it causes at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is what's causing climate change, because there is the whole business perspective of you could clean up this whole mess, but it's not profitable, but it could be done. There's plenty of opportunity for it.
Like the olivine thing that we discuss.
Yeah, exactly.
And Carlos and I were talking about that too. It's like these guys are just fucking insane because it's even cost effective to fix this shit. And they still don't want to do it. They hate us. They want us all to die.
I mean, it all comes back to it all comes back to our economic system, capitalism. It all comes back to when you put profit over people's lives, well-beings, and our entire existence on this planet, including including the trees, including the Amazon.
Who makes the economic decisions? Bezos?
Yeah.
The company owners?
When your entire existence of how society works is, let's maximize making this fake thing that we made up money, and who fucking cares what happens. These are the problems this is it. These are the problems. We are living with the consequences of people who only care about making money, regardless of that money meaning nothing when this planet explodes, kind of thing.
Yeah, the business model of Amazon TM will destroy Amazon.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's all I had from that. We'll have, I think next show we should have a pretty good environmental segment.
Yeah.
Everything's going to shit. So.
Do you want to
go to the next thing?
Yeah, yeah. Let's go into this piece by Tribune.
Tribune has some great stuff.
Yeah, if you guys don't already know who Tribune is, they're based in the UK. They're fucking awesome. Huge, big leftist news.
Yeah, with everything you got to filter through yourself, but they have a lot of hits. So
they have a lot of good stuff, a lot of
They have
good
a lot of good
people.
stuff.
Off the top of my head, Ronan Burtonshaw. If you guys check out Ronan Burtonshaw, he's an awesome guy. So this Tribune piece titled "Madrid's COVID Class War." In Madrid, authorities have imposed a new lockdown on 850,000 people living in the city's working class neighborhoods, the very places where the key workers at the front lines of the virus are most likely to live. Starting at the top with the quote here. This is a form of class segregation. It is unjust and ineffective, and it cannot be tolerated. So left-wing politician Inigo Errejón responded to the decision by Madrid's conservative regional government to impose targeted lockdowns as means to control the surge in COVID-19 cases in the Spanish capital. The city and its wider metropolitan area has become the epicenter of Europe's second wave of coronavirus, recording 45,000 cases, in the last 2 weeks. But in one of the most unequal and socially polarized cities on the continent, the new restrictions have been nearly exclusively imposed on low-income neighborhoods in southern Madrid. Really quick before I get into this, notice how it said second wave. Europe has successfully stopped the first wave and is now getting a second wave. We, on the other hand, have yet to even, here in the U.S., yet to even stop our first wave. We're still all fucking dying.
Yeah, we're in the perma wave.
Yeah, we just wanted to say that really quick. Kind of off topic, but also in topic. Getting back into it. Out of the measures announced, 850,000 residents will be geographically confined to the boundaries of their district, but with the exception made for essential travel such as work and education. The restrictions apply only in neighborhoods with a 2-week infection rate over 1,000 per 100,000 residents, such as Puente de Vallejas. My Spanish is terrible.
That was pretty good.
Hey, thanks. Which has the highest infection rate of any district in the European Union, with 1.2 out of 100 residents having tested positive for COVID-19 in the last fortnight. I haven't heard somebody say fortnight in fucking I don't know
like
how
in
long.
a real
Yeah, in
an
actual conversation, I have never seen somebody say fortnight.
Because we don't live in the fucking Middle Ages anymore.
Primary healthcare has become overwhelmed to the point of collapse in such areas, while hospitals have once again begun to come under massive strain, with 87% of all intensive care beds occupied across the region. Protests took place across the affected districts on Sunday morning, with participants calling for the resignation of Partido Popular Regional President Isabel Díaz Ayuso. Under Spain's system of devolved autonomous communities, each region runs its own healthcare system, and since the end of the country's state of alarm in June, her administration has been charged with managing the capital's reopening. Coming to power after much of PP, Partido Popular Regional's front bench had been wiped out in various corruption scandals, Ayuso is widely seen out of her depth, even in her own party. Spain's Socialist Party Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has also been criticized for his lack of action, seemingly content to allow his political adversaries to flounder. So I mean, even right there, even our leftists are kind of leaving workers out to dry and not doing as much as they could. Yet, talking to Tribune, the Madrid-based social epidemiologist Pedro Guillon Tosio insists that, along with PP's immediate mismanagement of the epidemic, the situation in Madrid also has to be understood in terms of structural inequalities and state failures associated with the region's long-term economic model. Since the early 1990s, Madrid has acted as the Spanish right's neoliberal laboratory. Its test case for a wider project for a new Spain, which has resulted in the progressive stripping of public resources and capacities in the region, as well as in widening the class divide. A member of the board of directors of Spanish Epidemiological Association, as well as co-author of the book. Yes. Yeah, I'm not gonna fuck that. I'm not gonna fuck that one up. Javier Padilla Guillon insists the new measures being imposed on Spain's capital amount to little more than an attempt to scapegoat some of the most vulnerable sectors of the society. In big bold, right now the working class neighborhoods in the south of Madrid have an infection rate 3 to 4 times higher than in the more affluent northern districts. What are the conditions producing the differential impact? Is like a question. I'll go into this first one, maybe another one, and then we can talk about it and then move on. There are two key factors here: working conditions and housing. In terms of the first, the possibility of working remotely varies greatly depending on the neighborhood. The Madrid City Council published a recent study which showed that in richer neighborhoods, 70% of employees could work from home, while in the worst hit districts in the south, only 10 to 15% of workers were able to work from home. As a result, workers from the south of the city are in contact with many more people, as well as tending to do this type of work that has a greater risk of exposure. Like an example, working in like a grocery store kind of thing. You don't have the luxury of being able to work from home when you stock shelves at a grocery store kind of thing. They're also much more likely to have more than one job because of a failure of the system to give them adequate wage, not only outside of the pandemic but inside the time period of the pandemic. Like, the state has completely failed on making sure that even the lowest of the low parts of their society are taken care of, which is a problem of capitalism. You also have to take into account the questions of gender and nationality. There's a much larger immigrant population coming predominantly from Latin America in the south of the city. Many are working as care workers, cleaners, or in-home help across multiple locations, and so are much more likely to come into contact with the virus than the average middle-class professional. The level of precariousness within the sectors of the population also means they feel less able to take sick leave if they fall ill, either because it's informal work or if they are legally entitled to paid leave, they fear losing their job. Because why should I pay you to not work when I can fire you and hire somebody that can work and put them in the same exact situation?
I think people here entirely get this situation because we're facing almost exactly the same thing.
Yeah. And it being an issue of global capitalism, you see this throughout everywhere in the entire world, where we can all relate to this kind of thing. Like, oh, if I get sick, they might replace me, and then I'm fucked.
Yeah.
And even if you get sick and they don't fire you, you're not entitled to pay while you're sick. It's something that we can all feel everywhere as workers, and it's scary, and it's something that can and should be fixed.
It's funny to think about the chuds before the pandemic, like the people that are like, well, I never get sick. I don't need no fucking sick work protections. It's like,
exactly.
Well, now look, if you have COVID, like, it don't matter if you even feel good. You're not coming to fucking work,
exactly.
buddy. So
if you had COVID, you're
not allowed to go to work.
You're cleared by a medical professional. So even if I don't get sick, or if you're an asymptomatic carrier and happen to test yourself and see that you tested positive.
Yeah, so in some situation, we need fucking worker protections, regardless.
Exactly. Regardless of if you never get sick.
No matter how special you are.
Exactly. Yeah. And fuck you. Like, who cares about just you? This isn't. Not everybody is you.
That's the American mindset, baby. I'm all that matters.
That's about as far as I think I want to go into the article. If anybody has anything to say. Or if you
just at large or to the
we can talk at large, because I think we're done with articles. So if we just want to talk about it and then go into an outro.
Yeah, I guess to the article, and I guess why it's important we have it. As Ian said it perfectly, he's like, the effects of capitalism are worldwide. As they describe it, Spain is this new neoliberal project since the 90s. Fucking, that's us.
Yeah.
We're the new neoliberal project since the 90s, Bill Clinton. So, and we're both experiencing these effects. And I think one of the, just as a larger thing, like, I think one of the reasons we like to keep pointing out international things in our show is because it hammers home not only a feeling of international solidarity and realizing other people experience our same struggles, but realizing that, okay, if this is happening here and here and here and here and here, and it all appears to be the same problem, then that kind of reinforces that capitalism really is the fucking problem.
When you so blatantly see these issues, and it's so apparent and even paraded like neoliberalism. when it's so almost paraded and when it's just constantly like, we need to move towards neoliberalism, and then you see these problems arise, and you see these problems arise everywhere, and it reinforces the idea that it's not the individual, it's not we're not working hard enough, it's not this, it's the system has one goal and the people have another goal. The system wants to work you till you almost die but not kill you, and extract as much profit as they can out of you, or they want to extract as much value out of you in the form of like your labor and turn it into profit, and then and work you as much as they can with paying you the least amount they can. And we, the worker, we want to get paid as much as we can and work the least. We want to live a good life, and we want to, still have time to do the things that we want to do. We still want to be able to, explore our interests. We don't want to be stuck to this fucking job that we hate and we feel alienated from. We feel like we serve no purpose other than a cog in the machine. It all comes back to the system that we exist under, regardless of where you live. That is capitalism. That is the profit. That is it's the profit motive. It's at the end of the day, nobody's looking. Especially our politicians. Nobody's looking out for us. They don't and it's so rare to see somebody that does care about us, that wants to fix the problem and to alleviate the issue that is capitalism, and wants to give back. Wants to give back.
That's why Bernie was so popular, though, is because it was fucking crazy to see someone like Bernie for once actually speak to those things. And that was his appeal.
Yeah, Bernie, obviously, it doesn't go far enough. His goal was social democracy, which is capitalism with a smile. We'll guarantee you your sick leave. Make sure you can take time off when you're pregnant, but it still doesn't fix the actual issue at hand, which is capitalism as a whole.
Yeah, but even his approach, it still begs the same fundamental question as us, and we've even covered this with a little lo-fi interview we had of him.
Yeah,
it's it's at the end is the profit motive over the cooperation between you and me.
Exactly.
And Bernie believes that cooperation is more important. And even his, as you're saying, mild social democracy, even that was too much for the system. Yeah.
Because America specifically it's so overrun with corporate interest and.
Yeah, they don't even want piecemeal change that doesn't really threaten their power necessarily. It's just, even if it threatens it a little bit, they don't like it.
If they lose 1 cent, they'll eject it. They want absolutely nothing to change about the system except for if it helps increase their profit.
Because they're conscious that they're actually in a war.
Yeah,
is why they realize any little bit of ground they give us, we're gonna start going. But we don't realize
they understand the dynamic of power much better than us.
Michael or Carlos, do you guys have any final thoughts you guys want to say? Maybe.
I was gonna. Let's see. Yes.
Well,
I was reading off the chat right here.
Yeah. Really quick. It's going to destabilize the entire engine. It's going to destabilize it for us because obviously their capitalism doesn't exist without us. They make no money without us as the workers. Jeff Bezos makes no money without all of his workers across all of his storefronts and his subsidiary storefronts. So it's not necessarily it will hurt us more in the end because of economic collapse than it will hurt him. And he's already amassed so much wealth that this isn't gonna affect. And you're saying the problem you have.
Oh, the problem I have with the term predatory capitalism is it's repeating the same word twice.
Yeah, all capitalism is predatory. All capitalism is predatory.
Yeah, by nature.
Remember,
because you have the top-down asymmetry of power. You have the employer and the employee class. and they're constantly at clash. But the difference is the employer class, the slave owner class, the feudal lord class, they have all of the power in the form of the means of production in the form of capital, and we have nothing. Except for our labor power. And so there's that constant, beating at the heads of who comes out on top.
Because we see that because they're always moving in a system that's going back towards slavery because it's the system that best works for their interest.
Right.
It's the final capitalism form. Was the result of the struggles against the previous systems. So capitalism shouldn't be seen as the end goal that we're trying to get towards. It's another step.
We're running away
it's a step towards making things better. And that's why I like the way Richard Wolff puts it. We can go past capitalism. Because business and free enterprise, business and free enterprise can exist in a system that is better than capitalism. In a system that is more equal in the workplace.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes more sense to the notions of business and and so like we pointed out earlier with Medicare for All, with the profit motive put in, it fucking makes less business sense. We're losing money.
Something that is very commonly said is the free market will fix the problems. Specifically about healthcare, the free market, the free market, the free market, the invisible, the invisible hand of the market, whatever. They've had the power in healthcare for decades, and look how terrible the problem is. Obviously, the private sector cannot fix the ails that is our healthcare system. We have to take that off the table of bargaining.
The problem with that, definition of the free market is it's like opening up the market and saying, all right, whoever has the most money, go for it. Oh, Michael.
We just lost Michael. Thaddeus, that's it. That's exactly what, I was using that as a frame of how people opposing our position argue. They say stuff like the invisible hand of the market and the free market will fix the ails that is the system. Less regulation. Yeah, okay, just making sure.
Yeah, all markets are manipulated.
Yeah.
It's just who's doing the manipulation and how. Yeah.
Yes.
That takes a serious analysis too.
Definitely.
Yes. I guess since we lost Michael, maybe we should just.
I don't know what happened with Michael, but
maybe his internet
I guess
went out or something. I don't know.
Maybe something like that. We're gonna go ahead and call that the end of the show because we are already done with our topics. If anybody has any other questions before we go ahead and ask. I'm gonna go ahead and type in our exclamation socials if you're interested in following us on our social media. That's awesome. Continue to study it. We need more minds, and we need more.
Thanks for watching too.
Hey, yeah, and thank you for the compliment. If you enjoyed, I'm not sure if you already followed and we missed the notification, but we do this every Wednesday at 10:30. We did miss last week's episode because our producer, the man with no camera, fell a little ill, so we took a day off so he can recover. But yeah, if you're interested in what we're talking about, go ahead and drop a follow. We do this every Wednesday, and we have plans specifically for me to do like a news update.
Follow.
Yeah. Hey, thank you. We plan on doing a quick like a news update every week. We're looking at maybe uploading it on a Friday. But yeah, appreciate for the follow. Follow us on our Twitter. I just put the social links in there. Thank you guys, everybody, for watching. We had a bunch of people turn out, which is awesome.
Yeah.
The full VOD will be uploaded on our YouTube tomorrow. If you are interested in what you missed, we had a guest on, and we talked about the femicides happening around the world, but specifically, she talked about Latin America. So yeah, check that out. Thank you guys all for watching.
Timestamps, links, everything we referenced.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
All of our links.
Be up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Michael, you back?
Up at 10:30. Yeah. Have a good night. Remember, everybody. Remember how important you are as a worker. You be safe, man.
Michael, you want the final word here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since we lost you.
Yeah, my internet totally cut out.
We've kind of signed off, but if you want a final.
Frantically trying to get back in. I was just saying, I don't know what really happened while I was gone. Where did you guys?
We just signed off.
We're just doing a little talking in the chat.
Okay.
If you have anything to add.
I was just gonna say I appreciate don't know if you guys already kind of said this. I appreciate everyone that joined. I saw that we hit like maybe a max of, I think it was like around 20, 25, 30 viewers. The last one I saw.
Yeah, seriously.
The interaction in the chat's amazing. I really do appreciate it, and I feel like if anybody, we're always open to questions, and like we always say, like just always ask, always be interactive, and we'll be sure to get to you. But yeah. And a special thanks to our guest again, Jennifer Ruiz. That was really amazing on her femicide article research that she did on her own. And we would actually love more guests just like that. And if you want to hit us up on our Twitter. Our socials are in chat if you do !socials. And yeah, just hit us up if you have anything interesting you guys want to talk about, or if you know somebody that is very knowledgeable of something and wants to talk about it. But yeah, with that being said, leave it. Just thank you.
That's how we end it.
I wanted to say one thing really quick. I always do like a little outro at the end. I wanted to say, just always remember how important you are as a worker, regardless of what you do. Dishwashing, picking up poop at a zoo, whatever it is. Remember how important and integral you are, and how important your labor is. And that's one of the big things a lot of people forget, and even I forget it sometimes. Like, work can get kind of depressing sometimes, kind of feeling like every day's the same, and you kind of feel useless. But always remember how important you are, and how you can put your efforts outside of work into making real structural and integral change in this country and abroad, and how we can reintegrate workers into their companies better, less alienation. And I really workers of the world unite. I'm gonna end it here because we're doing the outro. Thank you guys so much. It's gonna get the music playing and the cameras cut. Thank you guys. See you guys next Wednesday.
Thank you.